Joe Biden has been a lot of things over the years. He's been a moderate, he's been a radical. He's been a hawk, he's been a dove. And now, as he faces mounting pressure to step down as his party's 2024 presidential nominee, Biden is attempting yet another reboot, this time shedding his image as an old white man and becoming instead a black woman.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
Good for him. It's Biden's party that told us that a person can be anything he wants to be. And if a dude can be a chick, I see no reason that white as snow Joe Biden can't be a proud Nubian queen, darker than the blackest obsidian. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. The New York Times is attacking Christians and telling Christians to get out of American politics. Stop the presses! I know you've never heard that before. Actually, there's a lot to say about the press today. The press really exposing themselves as having no credibility, as having very little honesty in a way that I haven't seen probably in about 8 years, since Trump started his campaign. We'll get to that in a moment. First, though, it's Sicilian summer. Okay, there are everyone's trying to claim the summer. It's this kind of summer. It's that kind of summer. We all know what it is. It's Sicilian summer. That's why we have this candle, and it's back. It's sold out immediately because it has citrusy and delightful. It smells like a nice, lovely little glass of limoncello. Well, it's back in stock. You go to thecandleclub.com, thecandleclub.com, not candleclub.com. I think maybe you can go to the DW store, but go to thecandleclub.com. Get all of the Michael Knowles candles, including Crème de la Crème, Old Soul, Wise Man, the Mayflower Collection, and our seasonal treat, Sicilian Summer. Then you sit in your house, you let that musk permeate the air, and maybe you let a little light in by opening up your blinds. That's why I want to talk to you about 3-day blinds. Go to number 3, dayblinds.com/Knowles. There is a better way to buy blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery. It's called 3-day blinds. They're the leading manufacturer of custom window treatments in the U.S. Right now, they're running a buy one, get one 50% off deal. You can shop for almost anything online these days. Why not shop for blinds too? I love 3-day blinds. One thing I like about 3-day blinds is that focus on getting it done quickly. Because the worst thing, you have these projects drawn out and out for this. Part of the reason why people put off doing their windows. 3-day blinds has been in business for over 45 years and has local professionally trained design consultants who have an average of 10 plus years of experience. That's why they're the highest rated blinds company on Trustpilot at 4.7 out of 5 stars. Just set up an appointment. You'll get a free, no obligation quote the same day. The experts at 3-day blinds handle all the heavy lifting. They design, measure, and install so you can sit back, relax, and leave it to the pros. Right now, you can get 3-day blinds, buy one, get one 50% off deal on custom blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery. For a free, no charge, no obligation consultation, head to 3dayblinds.com/Knowles. That's the number 3, not the spelled out. It's the number 3, dayblinds.com/Knowles. Buy one, get one 50% off. 3dayblinds.com/Knowles. Biden's first week as a black woman is not going very well. Biden went viral over the weekend for a clip at some rally. He's given some rally to try to recover from that disastrous debate. And he makes a glaring omission in his glad handing.
Back down.
You see Biden, he's taking selfies with people. There's a nice big white couple. Here's a nice big white guy with a mustache. Then there's a black woman who smiles. Hi, Joe. Oh, nope, he's passing right over her. Yep, she's kind of looking. Nope. She's looking to the side. Wait, why do you pass over me? Just talk to that white lady. Now he's just talking. Oh, there's another white lady. Here I am. Well, there goes my smile. I was just smiling a little bit again, but he's not even looking at her. No, Joe Biden does not recognize his fellow strong black woman. He just moves on to the white people. And then this poor black lady, she's like, okay, all right, well, anyway, bye. Should I vote for Trump? I don't know. Maybe I should vote for Trump. Why do I mention it? Because Joe Biden's a horrible, terrible racist? I don't know. Maybe. That's kind of the low level, I think, take on Biden. I don't know. I don't think it's really that. I don't think Biden, hates black people or anything like that. I just think he's losing his political touch. That's what I think. And that, in a way, that's more devastating. You're going to hear all these conservatives look at that clip and say, see, Biden's a racist, just like his old friend, the exalted cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan, Senator Robert Byrd, or those Democrats, the party, the KKK, whatever. Yeah, okay, fine. I don't think Biden hates black people. I think Biden doesn't really believe anything, and the one skill he's had in life is he's really good at shaking hands and slapping backs and smiling at people and kissing babies. He is a talented politician. That's how he got elected to the Senate when he was too young constitutionally even to serve in the Senate. And he's been in politics for 50 years now, national politics, over 50 years. And the problem for Biden is, in order to be a politician, I said this after the debate, the main skill you have to have is to be able to talk. And Biden can no longer talk. That's what's so devastating. The other skills you need to have, which are related to talking, are you got to smile for pictures and slap people on the back and make them feel good, and make sure, especially if you're a liberal politician, that you play all your identity politics cards exactly right. A woman outranks a man, and a black woman outranks a black man, and certainly a white man, and a homosexual outranks a heterosexual, and you got to keep that in mind. And he doesn't. He's lost his touch. He's lost his political skill. And now he is left truly with nothing, which is why the Democrat establishment is trying to run him out. So Biden, to stop the bleeding on his campaign, decides that he's going to sit down for an interview. And who's he choose to sit down with? George Stephanopoulos on ABC. George Stephanopoulos is not just a liberal journalist. That would be bad enough. Okay, we got to help the campaign. I'm going to sit down with a friendly journalist. George Stephanopoulos was Bill Clinton's White House communications director. Okay, George Stephanopoulos was, for the part of his career that made him famous, an actual propagandist for establishment Democrat politicians like Joe Biden. This is the safest possible interview that Joe Biden can go on. And he still blew it. Stephanopoulos pushed him, said, are you going to step down? First, Joe Biden comes out defiant, says no.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
Well, it depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
Well, on a more practical level, Washington Post just reported in the last hour that Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try and convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win.
Well, Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too. Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race.
So Biden's team is doing everything to make him look young and vigorous. They have colored him orange. They've actually done the thing to him that they make fun of Donald Trump for doing to himself, which is they've put a bronzer on him that makes him look orange. Next, they're going to put a big blonde wig on him and a big fat red power tie and, I don't know, give him a golf resort or something. They're trying to make him look a little bit like Trump. Then he's not wearing a tie. He's wearing a blue striped shirt, and he's got the blue striped shirt unbuttoned, not quite to his navel, like he's about to get on a yacht off the coast of Sorrento or something. They're just trying to make him look young and vibrant. But his speech, the quality of his voice, the slowness with which he speaks, the raspiness, the fragility, the obvious fragility through his fame is giving him away. You can put all the bronzer on in the world. You can dress him up like he's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's not going to do anything. It's clear that he's frail and losing it. You see here, he says, I've spoken to them. That's the first one. Don't worry. I've spoken to them at length. I've spoken to them. Is that the participle? To speak? I don't think so. His inability to talk gives him away. Then he makes the bigger gaffe of the of the interview, which is when Stephanopoulos says, hey, man, okay, you want to stay in it, I get it, whatever, but what if Trump wins? What if Trump wins because you're so old and senile? What are you going to say after that happens?
Mr. President, I've never seen a president at 36% approval get reelected.
Well, I don't believe that's my approval rate. That's not what our polls show.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
That's what this is about, man. I got to do the goodest job. Where's my sticker? Can I have a nap now, please? Come on, Jack, I'm tired. The word he was looking for is best. That is the superlative form of good. It's good, better, and best, but he did goodest because he can't use words anymore. He was able to use words in his young political career. He allegedly had some childhood stutter. It went away for 50 years in his political career. Then it came back, but it didn't really come back. It's just senility. That's it. If Biden can't make it through a George Stephanopoulos interview, he can't make it through anything. This is the softest. I don't mean any disrespect to Stephanopoulos. He pushed him here where he should have pushed him on behalf of the Democrat Party, which is trying to throw Biden out right now. But he pushed him enough, but still, he's George Stephanopoulos, okay? He's Clinton's comms guy. He gives softball interviews to Democrat politicians, and Biden flubbed it. He didn't hurt himself all that much in the sense that he'd already so perhaps mortally wounded himself during that debate with Trump that there was really no way to injure himself any further, but he didn't help himself. The point of the Stephanopoulos interview was to help Biden stop the bleeding, turn the campaign around. Didn't happen. The point of the debate, the reason he proposed the debate to Trump, was to turn his numbers around, stop the bleeding of his support, and stop Donald Trump's rise. Neither of those things worked. So now the Democrats have two clear examples just from the past few weeks. They need to get this guy out, and he doesn't want to go. So what are you saying about this? What are you posting on social media? What are you writing about? Well, did you know that anything you do on the internet can be seen by your ISP? That's probably why you need to check out ExpressVPN. Go to expressvpn.com/Knowles. Going online without an ExpressVPN is like putting all your passwords and credit card numbers on a huge billboard for the world to see. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, or airports, your online data are not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to steal your personal data. It does not take much technical knowledge to hack someone. Hackers can make up to $1,000 selling your personal data on the dark web. Even a 12-year-old like Professor Jacob could hack your computer unless you're using ExpressVPN, which stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. What I love about ExpressVPN is how easy it is to use. You just fire it up. You click that one button on the app. Boom, you're protected. Whether you're talking your iPad, your iPhone, your computer, whatever. Make sure that you are ready to go on the go. That's why ExpressVPN is rated #1 by those tech geniuses over at CNET and The Verge. Go to expressvpn.com/Knowles, expressvpn.com/Knowles. You can get 3 months for free. expressvpn.com/Knowles. Some people have been tempted to give the media credit for how they're now asking questions about Joe Biden. There are some Republicans, they're going to say, wow, even the New York Times, even the Washington Post are going after Biden. Wow, maybe they're fair after all. They're not. Don't do that. You do not, under any circumstances, have to give the establishment media credit for anything. Because now they're all turning on Biden because they're afraid that the cat's out of the bag and everyone realizes that the guy's brain is applesauce and he's not going to be able to beat Trump in November. So they're trying hurriedly to replace him before their convention in August and even before the deadline, which is coming up in a week or two, to get a nominee so that he can appear on all the ballots in all 50 states. I want to remind you that all these intrepid journalists, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Joe Scarborough now raising all sorts of questions about Biden's fitness. 4 months ago, this is what Joe Scarborough had to say about Joe Biden.
But comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now, he's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, I don't know if people knew this or not, Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and I don't really, I don't really care. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it.
It wasn't the truth. I love how Joe Scarborough sets this up. He says this thing, then he says, hey, start your tape right now because I'm going to tell you the truth. Meaning everything I've been telling you is a lie, but now I'm going to tell you the truth. And then, of course, he just repeats the thing he said previously. I've known Biden for years. My third wife, her family's known Biden for 50 years, his entire political career. This is the best Biden has ever been intellectually and analytically. So is Joe Scarborough, I don't mean just to pick on Joe Scarborough, are the liberal media liars or simply incompetent and oblivious? Some are one, some are the other, some are a little bit of both. Either way, no credibility whatsoever. They have no credibility at all. Joe Scarborough in that clip is either lying or he doesn't know anything. The left-wing media, lying or they don't know anything. Either way, no reason to believe them. They're now freaking out because, unfortunately for them, they thought they were going to be able to rig the presidential debate and rig the rules in a way that would harm Trump and then put it on a left-wing cable network. And so you wouldn't have to worry about an audience or the Committee on Presidential Debates or this, that, or the other thing. They thought they had it all in the bag, and it actually ended up hurting Biden. They thought, for instance, that not having a studio audience in for that debate would help Biden and hurt Trump. Because Trump plays to the big crowds, and they thought, okay, if we get all the crowds and the cheering out of there, Biden will do better. The opposite happened. Biden plays off of the energy of people. It totally killed him. They thought the commercial breaks would help him. They thought it being on CNN would help him. They thought this, that, and the other thing. Didn't work. That's why they're freaking out right now. Now, speaking of our extremely dishonest media, House Democrats are bringing out the big guns to kill a GOP bill requiring proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. This according to Axios. Axios, a center-left publication. Scoop, House Dem leadership bringing out the big guns against this Republican bill. Now, why are they doing that? The liberals had told us that illegal aliens never vote. This is not a worry at all. So if they really believed that, and then the Republicans came out and said, there's a bill that's going to ban from voting, if the Democrats really believed what they were saying, you would imagine that they might say, okay, well, no big deal. It's not going to change anything because aren't voting. But that's not what they're doing. The House Democratic leadership is going to bring out the big guns. They're going to kill this bill as fast as they can because it won't change anything at all, right? I don't think so. This is like when the Democrats were so eager to kill Trump's wall, his big, beautiful wall. They campaigned, they said, walls don't work, walls don't work, walls don't work, and that is why we're going to do everything we can to stop Trump from building a wall. Well, I thought the walls don't work. Let him build the biggest wall in the world. It's not going to affect your policy, right? If what you're saying is true. Let the Republicans pass this bill. It's not going to affect a single vote for a Democrat if what you're saying is true. DEI is not being taught in schools. Remember that one? Republicans go after DEI, critical race theory, in schools. The Democrats say this is outrageous. Critical race theory and all the DEI-related ideologies, they are not being taught in schools. And that is why we're going to fight tooth and nail to stop Republicans from banning it in schools. They're not your kids. What are you taught, you crazy Republicans? You're passing all sorts of rules to stop liberals from your kids. We're not doing that. And that's why we're going to fight those laws tooth and nail. It's very, very important that children have access to the life-saving that we are not presenting to them. Wait, what? What is it? Which is it? I want to be as fair as I possibly can to the libs. I guess they could still try to say with a straight face that no, illegal aliens are not voting. This has nothing to do with illegal aliens voting. But you see, if you require proof of citizenship, then other groups who support us are not going to be able to vote because they don't have proof of citizenship. Their argument, if they are going to keep a straight face and say illegal aliens are not voting, then their argument is our voters are so stupid and disorganized and incompetent that they can't even prove that they're Americans when they go to vote. Those are the only two options. Either they're trying to rig the election by getting illegal aliens to vote illegally, or they think their own voters are so stupid and disorganized, so many standard deviations away from the average IQ that they can't even prove that they're Americans. Either way, doesn't bode very well for the Democrat Party. Now, speaking of DEI, among one of my many examples of Democrats doing this exact thing, Gavin Newsom is coming out swinging against conservatives' objections to the potential Kamala Harris presidency. I don't think she's pregnant. The New York Post came out and said America may soon be subjected to the country's first DEI president, Kamala Harris. Gavin Newsom, Governor Patrick Bateman there of California, tweets out, number one, Joe Biden is our next president. Number two, this is straight up racist. Straight up racist. How dare you say that Kamala Harris is a DEI president, an affirmative action pick? How dare you say that she's only in her position because of her sex and the color of her skin? Except I got an NPR article from June 12th, 2020. Pressure grows on Joe Biden to pick a black woman as his running mate. We've got here CBS News. This is April 27, 2020. Women of color are the core. Biden challenged to pick a black woman as running mate. Washington Post, August 10th, 2020. Joe Biden pressed again to name a black woman as his running mate. Kamala Harris was only picked to be Joe Biden's running mate because she is a black woman, sort of a black woman. She's actually half Indian and half Jamaican, and a lot of the Jamaican part is white. But anyway, she, according to the Swatch test among the Democrats, I guess she counts as a black woman. That's why she was picked. Don't take my word for it. That's what the Democrats told us. Democrat politicians, Democrat activists, and the Democrat media, including the news networks and the Washington Post and NPR and a lot of other places. This is what Michael Anton over at the Claremont Institute refers to as the celebration parallax. The celebration parallax is when a political statement is true or false, depending upon the perspective of the person observing it. So a leftist will get out there and say, it is so wonderful that Joe Biden committed to picking a black woman. Doesn't matter. He didn't say he's committed to picking Kamala Harris, just a black woman. This is so wonderful that he's committing. He will take out of the running 97% of people in America, but he's going to pick a black woman. Is that 97%? No, I guess it would probably be 94%. In any case, he's going to pick this type of, that's so good. You say, I think it's bad that Joe Biden just immediately disqualified 94% of Americans and he's just picking someone based on the color of her skin and her sex. He's not doing that. What are you talking about? That's not true. It's only true if you're happy about it. And one thing that's true, and you might not be happy about it, but it remains true, is that you're going to die someday. That's why you got to check out Policy Genius. Go to policygenius.com/Knowles. Life is unpredictable. One thing you can predict is that you're going to die at some point. So a good life insurance plan gives your family a financial safety net to protect against some of the unknowns. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It makes choosing the right policy for your company easy and quick. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Policy Genius's technology makes comparing life insurance quotes from America's top insurers easy in just a few clicks. You already have a life insurance policy through work. That might not offer enough protection for your family's needs. It may not follow you if you leave your job. Policy Genius has licensed agents who can help you find the best fit for your needs. Policy Genius works for you, not the insurance companies. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policy Genius. Head on over to policygenius.com/Knowles or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. That is policygenius.com/Knowles. I sat down a couple of weeks ago with Justin Waller, an entrepreneur who overcame a difficult childhood to create a construction empire, who is now most known not for his construction stuff, but for his viral social media discussions, controversial discussions of marriage, masculinity, and politics. Check out the teaser.
I grew up very poor, South Louisiana, in and out of trailer parks, 11 custody court battles, violence, 2 house fires, no understanding of finance or wealth, and build the life that I want. If you don't think you're gonna go bankrupt about every 4 years, you're not doing anyway.
Obviously, you've had this great career. People don't really know you from that. People know you from going on YouTube and other platforms and giving advice to young men. Are you married now?
I would never bring the state into my affairs. I don't chase women, Michael. I absorb them. I love women. Let me be very clear about this.
But
and in fact, I have quite the reputation for loving them a bit too much.
Yeah.
And my wife helps, by the way.
Wait, your wife helps?
We got girlfriends, G.
Really?
Yeah, man. I am not promoting this.
I guess that, to me, that's the most interesting thing you're saying.
I am not.
If it's good for you, why is it not good for some other guy? Very controversial stuff. Some people absolutely love Justin. Some people don't quite love him that much. In any case, you can watch our very long and thorough conversation right now over at the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. Catch the uncensored version on Spotify and ad-free at DailyWire Plus. Speaking of inclusion, the New York Times has just run a piece of blatant anti-Christian bigotry. Specifically anti-Catholic bigotry, not even so much in the text of the article, but in the picture that they chose. They chose this picture, which is an image of Our Lady, of Mary. And instead of her showing her Immaculate Heart, she's showing an American flag. And the headline is, "Your values are not American values." So the image is specifically anti-Catholic. But then the text of it is just broadly anti-Christian. It's written by some woman named Pamela Paul. And I'll just give you a little taste of the article, because it tells you a lot about our journalist class. Whenever a politician cites Judeo-Christian values, this is how the piece begins, I find it's generally followed by something unsettling. Last month brought 2 flagrant instances. Ryan Walters, Oklahoma's superintendent of public instruction, said learning the Bible is necessary to having an understanding of the basis of our legal system. Forgive me for wondering, is he referring to an eye for an eye or the stoning of disobedient children? Okay, I'm going to pause right here. Even if you're the biggest Reddit tier, fedora-tipping, neckbeard atheist in the entire world, can you really dispute that the Bible is an important book? It's an important book to understanding our law, our history, our culture. Perhaps you would say the most important book ever written, even if you don't believe it, even if you think it's false or if you think it's bad. It is the book that has shaped our entire civilization. She denies this. This writer in the New York Times seems to deny this. And then, speaking of Reddit tier, neckbeard, fedora-tipping atheism, says, "Oh, forgive me for wondering, does he think that an eye for an eye is a great basis for our legal system, or maybe the stoning of disobedient children?" So first of all, there is a distinction understood from the Christian perspective between the different types of laws in the Old Testament, some laws being juridical, some laws being liturgical, some laws being moral. And the fullness of the prefigurations of Christ in the Old Testament come about at the incarnation, and this transforms our understanding of God and ourselves and our place in the cosmos. And it doesn't abolish the law, not a jot or tittle, but it does fulfill the law. And that's a conversation that this woman is not even close to being ready for. But even just use this first one, an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye has been the basis not only of a legal system in Christian civilization, but I don't know, like Hammurabi's Code. I don't know, the notion that one must be punished in a way that is commensurate with the crime committed. Yeah, that is a kind, at least a basic intuition of justice, even if it doesn't tell you the whole story, even if there's much more to say about it. She goes on. Their goal, these Christians, is to impose one form of religion, Christianity, and the underlying message is that those who do not share it will have to submit. Despite what the Christian nationalist movement would have you believe, America was not founded as a Christian nation, nor is it one today. In a pluralistic country, neither the Bible nor Judeo-Christian values are universal, including in the 2 heavily Christian southern states in which these laws were passed. Put a pause right here. The Christians' goal is to impose Christianity, and those who don't share that view will have to submit. We just concluded Pride Month, and during Pride Month, a particular and dubious moral and ethical system was shoved down the throats of everyone, including elementary school children, and pride flags were raised in public buildings, in schools, painted on sidewalks, and if you don't go along with it, you will be punished for that. You'll be punished in your workplace. You'll be punished in school. Who knows? You might be prosecuted. If you burn an American flag, you probably won't be prosecuted. If you burn a pride flag, see what happens when the cops come knocking on your door. I'll get to the rest of it in just a moment because there's so much nonsense in here. I don't want to miss it. She says, America's not founded as a Christian nation. Again, you don't need a PhD in American history to recognize that, beginning with Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus came and discovered the Americas in an effort to fund a new crusade, so devout a Christian was he. Then, let's fast forward a little bit to 1620. The Pilgrims, who founded Plymouth Colony and were some of the very first Americans, and in the American self-understanding, really are the people who planted the seeds for what would become the United States of America. The Pilgrims were extreme religious zealots whose holiday is called Thanksgiving. Who were they giving thanks to? I'll give you a hint. It was God, and it is their version, their understanding of the Christian God. Even the founding fathers, many of whom were deists, many of whom were Enlightenment-influenced thinkers who were far from Orthodox Christians, even they acknowledged that America is a Christian country. John Adams, who sometimes is cited as being evidence that America is not a Christian country because he signed the Treaty of Tripoli, which to get Muslim pirates to stop imprisoning and enslaving American sailors in a diplomatic treaty said America is not a Christian country. But and that was a treaty actually negotiated by a Jeffersonian diplomat, but that's also a story for another time. John Adams said explicitly, we don't need to wonder about what he thought from the esoteric readings of a diplomatic document. He said, the general principles on which the revolution was fought and independence was achieved are the general principles of Christianity. John Jay, another founding father and author of The Federalist, first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, said, thank God that America is a Christian country founded by Christians. I hope we always remain this way. I'm paraphrasing somewhat. Beyond the founding fathers, the national anthem, written in the early 19th century, says this, and thus be it ever, when free men shall stand between our loved home and the war's desolation, conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. That wasn't written in the 20th century. That was written in the early 19th century, before the Civil War even. It said, this be our motto in America, in our national anthem, in God is our trust. Abraham Lincoln's speeches, the second inaugural, the Gettysburg Address, use language straight out of the King James Bible. Then, in God we trust is added to our currency and into the Pledge of Allegiance in the 20th century. And on and on and on. I'm just giving you a few examples to show you that throughout all of American history, we have recognized that America is, broadly speaking, a Christian country. So the first thing that strikes me, and this thing goes on, but the first thing that strikes me about this New York Times piece is the ignorance. This woman just has no idea what she's talking about. But the second thing that strikes me is the obliviousness. When she says they want to make you submit to their beliefs. Yeah, well, lady, you just finished Pride Month. You demand that we submit to your beliefs, not just on pride, but on all of liberalism, even on the rejection of Christianity in American public life. That is a liberal demand, and it's a totalitarian demand. You're demanding that we, Christians, give up our beliefs to buy into your nonsense ideology. And you are far more authoritarian in your insistence upon that than any Christians are in America. Then here's the kicker. While most of the Ten Commandments involve universal principles and moral precepts can be found in the Bible, not everyone draws ethical guidelines from religion. And when the Ten Commandments say, thou shalt have no other gods before me, the implication is there is one true God. That is decidedly not true for all Americans. Line by line. While most of the Ten Commandments involve universal principles, what makes a universal principle? Notice she gets it backwards. I think good evidence that a principle is universal is that it's in the Ten Commandments, because those come from God himself. She thinks it goes the other way around. Well, no, we know the universal principles, and maybe some of Christianity fits into that. Well, okay, where do you get your universal principles from? Well, she's maybe deduced those principles from reason. Okay, I believe in that. I'm a natural law guy. I believe that the natural law is inscribed in every human heart, and that we can know universal moral truths through reason. We can know the existence of God with certainty from human reason. How do you know your reason is reliable? How do you know that? Why can you trust what your reason says, in as much as you trust it? The only way that that's possible is if the universe is intelligible, and if there is an intelligence which created the universe, and if you have some of that intelligence, if, in other words, you are made in the image and likeness of God. To trust your own reason, to come to certain conclusions about universal moral principles or whatever, implies, whether you want to admit it or not, that you believe in God. And to attack Christianity for saying, and Judaism for saying, thou shalt have no other gods before me, the implication is that there's one true God. Well, yeah, I mean, if there's such a thing as God at all, which there necessarily must be, then there will be a true God, and there will be lots of false gods, because we can distinguish between truth and falsehood using our reason. That's how you supposedly came to your universal principles, lady. And she obviously believes that there is one true God. For her, it's the one true God of liberalism, which is really just the worship of the self. She's saying that. She's saying, Christians, your God is false. My liberal God is true, and you will bow down before my liberal God, and you will shut up and get out of public life. That's what she's saying. There's one true God. That is decidedly not true for all Americans. No, you're saying that all Americans should worship only the self. But the problem with that is then you have a lot of different little gods, and you're all very jealous gods, all of you individuals, and so you're going to impose your irrational will on everybody by telling Christians to shut up in public life. Your religious values are not American values. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. It's the ignorance is striking because, 50 to 60 or 70 years ago, a grade school child would understand the basic aspects of American history that this New York Times journalist denies. But it's the obliviousness. What she inveighs against as being authoritarian and infringing on the religious rights of others in Christianity, she herself is imposing in a far more authoritarian and irrational way. They don't even know. Yes, the journalists lie. Yes, the journalists are corrupt and deceptive, but they're also just so ignorant and oblivious. If you ever attempted to give them credit, you do not have to do it. Now, speaking of anathematizing normal things, the New Republic, a liberal journal, once prestigious liberal magazine, has come out with a new line of attack against Trump. That's an old line of attack against Trump, but this is going to change it. Trump, they argue, is Hitler. We'll get to that in one moment. First, though, folks, let's talk about something every man needs in his grooming arsenal. That is a razor that actually works. Jeremy's second-gen razors are here. They're a #1 bestseller on Amazon. The new second-gen razors are radically redesigned from top to bottom. The blades are sharper and longer lasting, providing you the smoothest shave every time. With Jeremy's, you have options like the Sprint 3, perfect for a quick, clean shave, while the new and improved Precision 5 is your go-to for an exceptionally smooth and close shave. Let the other companies spend their money on DEI and woke ideology. Jeremy's razors focuses on what really matters, delivering a superior shave. Head over to Amazon right now, grab one of their best-selling razors, and find more great Jeremy's products. My favorite comment yesterday is from GT50093, who says, my Mexican wife just bought our daughter a Snow White costume, and I keep accidentally referring to her as Sand Beige. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. I thought that was one of my funnier lines, too. I'm glad you appreciate it, and I hope your daughter has a nice time in the costume. Speaking of anathematizing all these normal things, the New Republic is saying that Trump is Hitler. This is their new cover. It's Trump with a short haircut and a Hitler mustache. Wow. That's really making me think of Trump in a new and exciting way. American fascism. What would it look like? Written by, it's this whole big feature. Ruth Ben-Ghiat, Rosa Brooks, Maureen Corrigan, Federico Finkelstein and Emmanuel Guerrizoli, Francisco Goldman. I don't recognize any of these names until I get to the third line. Jason Stanley, I think, is some goofball from Yale who mostly just goes on liberal networks and, shouts about the Orange Man. And Brian Stelter, okay, and then another person I've never heard of, Kian Tajbaksh. This is it. Trump is Hitler. American fascism, what would it look like? And then there's this long explanation. We chose the cover image based on a well-known 1932 Hitler campaign poster for a precise reason, that anyone transported back to 1932 Germany could very, very easily have explained away Herr Hitler's excesses and been persuaded that his critics were going overboard and blah, blah, blah. It's this whole long explanation for why the New Republic is engaging in the lowest form of political commentary possible. But I'll give you the short explanation of why they're doing this. Because they want to kill him, and they're fine with killing you too. That's why. And I, unlike the New Republic, am not being irresponsible with my rhetoric or being hyperbolic or cheap or anything like that. That's the reason to call Trump Hitler. The reason to call Trump Hitler, beyond the ease with which that kind of comparison is bandied about, is because, according to the modern liberal ideology, anything justifies stopping Hitler, rather, justifies doing anything, including killing a baby. Do you remember, maybe 5 or 6 years ago now, Ben Shapiro spoke at the March for Life, and he was asked some question about killing baby Hitler, and he said, no, I wouldn't kill baby Hitler, because baby Hitler's a baby. He hadn't done anything wrong yet, and it's wrong to murder babies. And this became a big national debate. He trended all over social media. You hear this all the time. Jeb Bush was asked this. Would you kill baby Hitler? Because according to the old view, which I think is ever ancient, ever new, and remains true, Christianity. In Christianity, there's the incarnation of absolute good in the person of Jesus Christ. And evil is merely a privation of the good. In modern liberalism, I'm not the first to observe this. I think maybe Nick Land had observed this. I've been thinking about it at least for a while, but I'm sure I heard the first part of it from someone. It's so obvious. Modern liberalism does not believe in the incarnation of absolute good. It denies the incarnation of absolute good. It actually, modern liberalism, inverts Christianity, as it does at just about every turn. It's a caricature, a parody of Christianity. So in modern liberalism, there's no incarnation of good. There's the incarnation of absolute evil in the person of the mustachioed Austrian painter, in the person of Hitler. And it's not that evil is the privation of the good. It's that good is the privation of evil, that good is the distance away from evil. This is why in modern liberal politics, everyone is just trying to be the furthest thing from a Nazi. That's probably the one thing that the left and the right agrees on, is that they themselves are not Nazis. The other guy is the Nazi. No, you're the real Nazi. No, you're the real Nazi. That's how it works. So the worst thing that one can possibly be in public life is Hitler, is a Nazi, or a racist, or kind of the wickedness dissipates the further you get away. But it's all variations on the same tune. Whereas in Christianity, the Christian seeks to imitate Christ, in the imitatio Christi. In modern liberalism, the imitation is to be the opposite of Hitler, the opposite of a Nazi. And so in Christianity, there's a moral order that we cannot violate. You can't kill even baby Hitler in Christianity. But in modern liberalism, the ends justify the means. We have a consequentialist view of morality. And if you've got the specter of absolute evil incarnate, well, you've got to do anything to stop him. The New Republic cover is about killing Trump. That's what it's about. We couldn't outpoll him this cycle. We can't rig the election. We can't change all the rules. We can't shut the country down. We might not even be able to imprison him. You got to kill the guy. That's it. Tell me the alternative, please. I'm all ears, libs. What else could this mean? Either it means that, if Hitler were rising to power, you shouldn't do anything you could to stop him. Or it means kill Trump. And, by association, kill Trump supporters. That's what it's really about. The fact that the New Republic realized they had to justify this extremely goofy and also dangerous cover with endless lines of gobbledygook tells you they recognize they're doing something here that is pretty dangerous. Now, speaking of killing, a governor candidate in North Carolina, who is the current lieutenant governor, Mark Robinson, has just gotten big trouble, big headlines, wild, crazy rant, because this gubernatorial candidate said that some people need killing.
You know, there's a time when we used to meet evil on the battlefield, and guess what we did to it? We killed it. We didn't quibble about it. We didn't argue about it. We didn't fight about it. We killed it. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, what did we do? We flew to Japan. And we killed the Japanese Army and Navy. We didn't even quibble about it. I didn't start this fight. You did. You wanted to be left alone. You should have left me alone. We didn't argue and capitulate and talk about, well, maybe we shouldn't fight the Nazis that hard. No, they're bad. Kill them. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say it. It's not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of being mean or spiteful. It's a matter of necessity.
Everything he just said is true. Everything he just said is true. I'm shocked. I should be shocked by these headlines. Mediaite, left-wing outlet. Some folks need killing. NC GOP governor nominee delivers wild rant in speech at church. What single thing did he say that was not correct? We shouldn't have killed the Nazis? I don't know. Hold on. Hey, Mediaite, you got to talk to the New Republic over there. We shouldn't have, at the very least, fought the Japanese who attacked us and killed our... He goes even further. He's not even calling for a vengeful or retributive killing. Certainly not for private killing. He's talking about killing from the civil authority. But he's not even talking about it from the perspective of retribution. He's saying sometimes it is a necessity to protect ourselves. You know, we have to do... That's like the basis of government. Why do we have such a thing as law enforcement? It's to protect the community and the common good of the community from bad people who are going to attack us. And the left doesn't disagree. I'll prove to you that the left does not disagree that, in principle, some people need killing. The left is gleeful about killing little babies and the elderly and the handicapped. In fact, they demand the ability to kill these people as some kind of a human right. They'll say, oh, the baby who's not wanted, who's the product of an unexpected pregnancy, that baby, it is very important that baby be killed through. The mother needs that. In order to have the fullness of her liberation and her womanhood, she needs to be able to kill her baby. Oh, the elderly, they need to be put down. They need euthanasia, a ridiculous euphemism. They need it. That's the humane and moral thing to do. Oh, the handicapped people, they might suffer. It is necessary that they be killed. So that's the difference. The conservatives believe that some people need killing, and those people are Nazis and kamikaze pilots and murderers. The libs believe that some people need killing, and it's babies and the elderly and the handicapped. Not one person disagrees that some people need killing. The question is who? And then the question is, which side of that moral debate are you on? The rest of the show continues now. You don't want to miss it. Become a member and use code Knowles, Knowles, at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.